Okay, so this video is a quick guide to creating some simple queries and should be enough to get you started with the simple select queries worksheet that is on Moodle. So to start off with, to create a query in Access, click on the Create tab, choose Query Design, and this will bring up the following window. Now the first thing you do when you're creating any sort of query is to think about what tables you need in your query, and there are two things to think about. First of all, what information do you want to appear, and then secondly, what information do you need to search on? Okay, so the first 5 queries on the sheets are very simple queries, and they're literally just displaying information. So the first one, called Query Stock Check, asks you to just display information for stock number, description, unit, location, quantity from the stock table. So quite simply, you select the stock table and click close, and then you add in the required fields that were listed on that query. Now these queries aren't particularly useful, they're just an example of showing you how we can use queries just to display specific information that you would pull out of an individual table. Queries are more useful if we're actually searching on specific information. So the second set of queries is looking at a number of different tasks where you have to search using a range of criteria. So criteria searches are done usually in very similar ways. So I've just quickly added a few fields in here ready for the first query. Now one of the first ones on the searching queries is asking us for search for a list of items with 0 stock or no stock. So this is quite a straightforward one. I've got here a bunch of fields that I think are relevant. I've just chosen the first 6 or 7 from the table, and it's the criteria row that we're interested in. If we're searching for no stock, then we're looking for any item that has 0 stock. So put a 0 in the quantity. Over in the top left hand corner, click on Run, and you'll see this will bring up all the items with 0 stock. Now all search queries are made in the same way by using this criteria column. Now we can use a range of different type of searches in here. So if we wanted to search for something with a price greater than £5, we just put greater than 5 in the price column. Make sure you don't put any currency symbols in, that will stop the query from working properly. You can see that brings back anything that's greater than £5. You can do a range check by using more than one parameter here. So if we search for greater than or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 2, that should bring back everything that is between those two range values. And you can actually use that range check, greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, on dates and on letters. So for example, if you wanted to search between A and K, like one of the queries does, you can do that as well. Now one of the other things you can do is use a wildcard. Now wildcards are particularly useful when searching on text fields. So for example, if we want to search for locations, all locations beginning with A, then if you put an A and a star being the wildcard, it'll mean it'll search for any word that begins with an A. And if we run that, you can see the location there, it's only brought up the A's. The same works with words. So if you wanted to search for an entire word, I think one of the queries later asks you to search for carrot. I'm not sure which, if that comes under description or it comes under category. So I'm going to search for description. It might be the wrong one. So anything that contains the word carrot, so star, carrot, star, that means it can be in the middle of a sentence. We run that query, and I've obviously searched on the wrong field there. It would help if I spelled carrot correctly. Let's try again. There we go. So that's how we would search for a word within a sentence. Finally, the last thing that's useful to know is that if you're wanting to search on multiple fields, then you simply just put in multiple criteria. So if we search in, let's just have a quick check of this. We'll do an A star again, and I want to search for something I can search on. I'll do unit, and I'll do, trying to find a repeating word. So each is a repeating word in there, and you can see that brings back everything that's an A, everything that is has the word each, and so that's searching for two things. So therefore both of those conditions must be true to bring back any results. If you wanted it to be slightly different, so what we're saying here is it can be any of these things. So this does an OR, we get a slightly different set of results. So it pulls back a range of different results. So anything that has each in there or an A in down here will bring back those results. And that's usually useful if you did it on the same field, so case or each, and therefore only down the unit column do we have anything to do with case or each. Now parameter queries are quite useful. A parameter is something where we would request an input from the user. So rather than us hard coding something like this where it can only ever be that one thing, sometimes it's useful to actually ask the user of the database to tell us what it is we want them to search for. So we do that by using square brackets. So please enter a unit. It's just a prompt that is going to come up so that whoever is using the database understands what's being requested of them. And then if we type a case in here, click OK, you can see it brings back only anything to do with case. If I run it again and type each, it brings back anything to do with that. Now that's really useful and something that particularly you might want to use when it comes to the exam. Just checking what's left on the sheet. I think I've done everything that you would need to know for further practice. The only thing I haven't shown you is how to do queries on multiple tables. Now you can, when you start creating a query, you've obviously got this box here. You want to add an extra table, you simply click on however many tables you need. What you do need to be careful here is that you don't want to just go in and adding every single table just for the sake of it, because there will be instances where this will produce strange results within your query. So only put in the tables that you actually think you're going to need. If you get some strange results, then it might be worth thinking, right, have I got a table that I don't really need? Take it out, try again, because you often get some repetition of data if you put in more tables than you actually need.